Well, we got another project here that we're trying to potentially sell here. We actually just got this and ended up being a little rougher and more than we wanted to deal with, so we figured we'd offer it to potentially one of you guys and to, the general public. This is a 1971 Challenger 340 automatic car. It is not an RT, but it is a real 340 car. So a little bit kind of weird, but I think it was just ordered that way due to insurance reasons or whatever. But it's a no fender tag car, but it does have a clean title and VIN. I do have the title and the VIN tag with the title. This car is very rough, as you can see, and you'll probably want to go through and watch this video a couple times for anybody interested here. It has rust on almost every single panel. It needs a lot of work, and it is not for the not experienced builder, or not for the person that's afraid of metalwork. I'll just put it like that. You see somebody reinforce the frame rails with angle iron, so that's pretty creative. I haven't seen that one before. Firewall towards the bottom there is getting chewed up and around behind the brake booster. You see it is a power brake car. It is a power disc brake car, so kind of a cool little feature. The cowl here does have some stuff going on here, as well as some kind of random little spots here and there that are turning into holes. So considering that it's bad down there as well, I would do a whole upper cowl. I would probably do both inner fenders, or at least touch them up, because they've been re-welded here and it looks, I guess the word to describe it would be questionable. Both front frame rails need to be done, as you can see by the craftsmanship of angle iron. And the roof has issues as well. You can see it's chewed up all along the edge there. So it will need a roof skin, or I guess if you had the front half of a roof, you could probably just do it that. But then you go back down here, and it's got more. So a roof skin would be appropriate. There's a spot here on the inner kind of drip rail area. That's just a tiny little spot there. Floors, it will need full floors. It will need rear floor step wells, and the smart thing to do would be to do under seat pan, the whole thing up into the trunk pan. But you could repair this. It's got some bones left at least, but I don't know what the deal is with some kind of Bondo situations there. So the easy thing to do would be to remove that and replace it. The package tray is pretty clean. I don't see any issues with that. The quarter panels have been replaced and not done very well. It looks good at a glance, but I don't know when this was done. I assume the 90s. Look at how thick the actual lip is there. And the outer wheelhouses need major repairs, if not replacement as well. So as you can see, and I'm going to go over and point out some more stuff, but as you can see, this thing is a bit of a mess. It needs a lot of work. It'd be great if somebody can go ahead and do a bunch of metal work, and if somebody that loves metal work wants to do something with this car, this would be a really cool car to do, because it is, a 340 car. Buckets, console, automatic, power disc brake car. And a lot of you are thinking, oh, that's kind of cool. It's a purple car. Well, no, it's not. Previous owner thought it was a purple car. I debunked that one pretty quick. You can see this kind of silvery color underneath. That is gunmetal gray, Winchester gray. The code for it is GA4. I noticed at first when I looked at the package tray. You can see that's the original color. So somebody, I'm assuming once again in the 80s, 90s or so, went through and painted this whole entire car purple. Inside, outside, everywhere. So, and it's had some panels replaced since then, as you can see. But it's typical of something you see from kind of the East Coast. It is East Coast car. It was from North Carolina, near the ocean. So salt like to settle in areas and eat away, salt and sand. So the trunk lid here decided to lock itself. That's wonderful, so I'll get that in a minute. But you can see the tail panel here. It's kind of chewed up on the lower edge, but other than that, it's actually okay overall. But the rear, I guess you call it the rear tie bar, has some holes in it. Here's more evidence of that Winchester gray color. I'll actually put you in there for a second. You can see that Winchester gray on that wheelhouse. It's a really nice color. But we'll look at this side now. It's got a rust hole down there. This quarter was replaced as well, but this was replaced by an original quarter, from what I could tell on the inside. And you can see a little bit of that fleck of orangish red paint. That's off a different car. But that's something they did back then, so it's not too crazy to see it. Has rust here, has rust all up through here. It has rust in the back window. It has rust here by the window again. And the top of this quarter is not good either. So it needs both quarters, full roof skin, all 4 frame rails, full trunk pan, trunk extensions, outer wheelhouses, full floor, rear seat pan, rear step wells here. And that's just kind of the beginning of it. And then it needs probably another 40 patches beyond that, as well as an upper cowl, potentially inner fenders, frame rails, as I mentioned, and patches to the torsion bar crossmember. It needs torsion bar crossmember work too. So it could be described as kind of a basket case, but it's a 71 340 car in Winchester gray, buckets, console, automatic, power disc brakes, black interior originally, I believe. So I guess let's kind of get to the point. The car is located in Farmington, Minnesota. That's south central Minnesota. Zip code 55024. I know some people are better with zip codes. It does come with these parts. I'll get to that in a minute, and I'll get the trunk open in a minute. But I'm going to start the car out. What you see shown here, I'm going to start at $6,000, and that's what you get. I do have other parts available. I have a rally hood, but it needs work. I have bucket seats. I have a back seat lower. There's the back seat upper, and just some other miscellaneous little things and little trim and whatever that maybe I could be swayed and negotiated for a little here and there. But $6,000 is this car, everything you see here, and all of these parts. Comes with this extra door. This extra door is really nice. It doesn't have glass in it, but the whole lips on the edge are really nice. They're not all swollen up or rusted out. And it has some latch pieces left in it. The door latch mechanism's still there, so that goes with. It has 2 pieces of quarter glass. I actually don't think that these are Challenger. Actually, I think those are 71 B-body now that I look at them. If they're Challenger, they go with. If not, I'll just hold on to them. Not that that really affects the value much. There's the upper rear seat. I believe that is original to the car, so that would mean it's houndstooth interior car, which is really cool. Couple miscellaneous trim pieces. Dash frame. They're both rusted out, but good for a couple of parts. That one's got some wiring. This one's just a rusted out shell that probably nobody wants. I'll probably just throw that out because it's just scrap. There's window edge pieces. There's tail panels with taillights. One taillight has a broken edge, but that's not that big of a deal. As you can see, just by looking at it, you can't see where it's broken, so not that big of a deal. Rear bumper, just good for the brackets because the bumper itself got kind of whammoed there, so it's bent and probably not good for much. A couple of window trim pieces. There's a window trim base. I don't have the corners. Headlight bezel for 71. The 71 stuff is really, 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 really hard to get. That headlight bezel is pretty good. This one's really not. It's a little bit ripped right there and a little bit beat up overall. This grill is really, other than the ends, it's actually really pretty nice. The whole top is nice. The bracket is on it still. It is missing this ring that's on this side. It's missing that. But if somebody had some ends or just was creative with some plastic, they could fix that up. A light bar for a dash, that doesn't really matter. There's a front valence here, but it's all beat up and it has rust, and the brackets basically fell off it due to rust, so that's not really a factor. You can take it if you want. If you don't, I'll just scrap it. But yeah, we'll get the trunk open here in a second, and then we'll start looking at the underside of the car. So here's the underside of the trunk lid. It's a little bit swollen in this area, but other than that, the lip is really clean. There's no obvious rust or rust holes. It is a 70 or 71 trunk lid. It's not original to the car, but you could tell it's 70 or 71 due to the cutouts here for the TA spoiler, which obviously this wasn't, but that's how they were made, and the little circle cutouts for the rear spoiler option, which is just cool that it's an original 70, 71 piece as opposed to the later ones that don't have those provisions. So in the trunk, you can see the condition. You can see more of that color there showing up. You can see it needs a trunk pan. There's really no two ways about that. As you can see, that quarter panel was replaced. You can see there's no undercoating or anything on it. That was probably a cheap replacement panel that they had in the, 90s or early 2000s perhaps. And that is an original quarter panel. You can see that orange paint right there. So, and you can see where they lap welded it, and that's actually the end of a rivet. So, really kind of shows you the quality of work that was done here. So, anyways, now let's get a look underneath here. I'll try to get you guys the best look I can, but it's kind of dark. This frame rail is mostly intact, but it's soft at the back. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see. Let's see if I can get under there. Right. You guys see it's rusted out at the bottom there. And before you guys ask, no, it's not a Dana. I wish it was. I thought it was originally. But that's a 9 1/4 rear end. So that is a real gem. So there's that other frame rail that's solid, but it's made out of angle iron. So I don't know if anybody would really actually want to trust that, but that's what that is, I guess. So let's get around, look at the torsion bar cross member, and look at the front again, and wrap this up. Here we are kind of looking at the torsion bar area. There's the torsion bar right there. It looks pretty good through the center, but the end right here is rusted out, and it's the same on the other side. I would show you, but it's basically exactly the same. It's just the ends that are rusted out here, which those could be repaired, or it's probably just a better idea to replace the whole thing, but it's just more work. So, and then let's look at the kind of front cowl area here. I believe that there was damage there that somebody poorly repaired, but that just kind of is what it is. There's another look at the front frame rail, more rust. Shock tower looks like somebody welded the inner fenders back on through the backside, which is, how do I say this nicely? Creative, I guess you could say. And this fender is actually really not that bad. It just needs to be straightened out. I think the front is a little bit beat up, but it actually could be saved. I'm not sure I would save it considering the price of a new one, but it could be saved, and it's nice because it's an original part. I can't guarantee that that's the original fender, but that's the original color. So let's look. This fender looks like a tree fell on it there or something, so most people would replace that. I'll try to sneak the phone under here and look at that torsion bar cross member at the end there. Yeah, you can see that a little bit. So that's that. You can see there's some more frame rail stuff. There's a shock tower. There's the front frame rail. So that's pretty much it. My email's in the description of the video. I'll put it in the comments. I'll pin it as a top comment. If anybody needs any information on this car, anybody wants to potentially come look at it or buy it or whatever, I could coordinate something and try to see if we can get this thing to a good home. It's a project and a half, but I think it would be a really cool car done one day. So, anyways, definitely let me know what you guys think. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one.